So we've been talking about building your personal brand online, and today we're going to look at taking your personal brand, whatever is currently out there, and doing an audit, looking at it with specific intent in mind. So stay tuned for this and more. Hey, I'm Molly from the Visibility Hacking team, and we help small businesses grow their visibility online. And personal branding and auditing of brands online is like one of the very first things that we do with every single client, because we need to get a baseline of what your brand looks like online. How is it showing up to customers and potential customers? So doing a brand audit is something I recommend you do on a regular basis, because really, have you ever Googled yourself? What shows up? What page number are you on? Have you ever wondered what the web says about you and your brand? In today's video, we're giving you the skills you need to audit your brand. We're going to start out by ensuring that we're all on the same page. We'll talk about the tech stuff that boosts your brand. And at the end of the video, we'll talk about the human side of online branding. So for this and more, stay tuned after the intro. So when it comes to auditing your brand, in the world of visibility hacking, we see 3 different categories that you can measure yourself with. Depending on where in your business journey you are, it will also depend on which of these 3 areas you should be focusing on. And as your brand grows, we're going to add a different amount of focus to each of these 3 categories. And what are the categories? Well, let's start out with a brand new business. The very first area that you should be focusing on is the area of perception. How is your brand showing up online? Is it showing up online? This is where we can start to tap into the fundamentals of online visibility. We want to look at how your brand is being perceived by your potential customers. Are you actually getting in front of the right people? Perception is a great area to focus on. Then, as your brand begins to grow and people do start to see your content and your brand starts to be recognizable, then we ask the second question, and that is looking at the area of engagement. How are people interacting and engaging with your content? Are you putting out stuff that is super valuable to your potential audience? How is your engagement looking? Can we increase our level of engagement, the number of people showing up to our lives, or the number of likes, shares, or comments that we're getting? How does that look? That is what we're going to look at when we look at that second area of engagement. And the third area is once we have that audience built, once we know that we have the right people and we're sending the right messages to them to get that type of engagement, to get them interested and excited, then, and only then, are we going to then focus on the third category, and that is of conversion, moving them from one state to another, a place of indecision to a place of decision, meaning they go from being someone who watches your brand to someone who's actually purchased your product. Or they go from being someone who is a follower on one social platform to moving over and also following you on a different platform. That's cross conversion. We have conversion in terms of sales, we have conversion in terms of platforms, we have conversion in terms of being a passive watcher to being an active subscriber or follower in sense. There are different ways that we can measure conversion, but conversion is based on behavior, and we cannot change behavior until we establish influence. Influence comes from that second step of engagement. We cannot have that influence until we first have that authority, and the authority comes from those perception goals. So pick which of those 3 categories you are focusing on, pick your goal, and then go out there and do it. And Pick a goal and let us know down in the comments. Which of these 3 areas are you going to focus on for your goals moving forward? Okay, we're going to talk about tech stuff for a second. If you actually Google yourself or go search for yourself, what results come up? What's actually happening when people are searching for you or your brand? What are they seeing? What's being served up to them? Now, there are 3 things we're going to talk about. First, SEO, also known as search engine optimization. This is using the right kinds of keywords and words and search terms to actually feed up your stuff as the results to people who are looking for whatever it is that you solve. This is how you rank higher in search engines like Google, for example, serving up what people are actually looking for and being specific about describing your content. It's an art form unto itself, but getting to know a little bit about SEO is really, really important if you want to use your content to connect to your ideal audience. Second thing you need to look at is your overall virtual presence. So what social platforms are you showing up? How engaged are you on those platforms? Some people think that they need to be everywhere. They need to be on every single platform. And yes, there is logic behind that idea, but I don't recommend that. I recommend picking platforms that you're actually going to engage on, that are actually useful to you. That way, you can create an atmosphere, you can create an environment with the content that you're creating, with the messages that you're putting out into the world. So creating that space happens when you intentionally are able to put content out there with the right message for your audience. So don't just buy a bunch of quote cards and post them up because you want Instagram engagement. It doesn't work that way. You want to make sure that you are using the right platform, using the right message for the right people. So be intentional about the platforms you're on so you can use it as an actual conversation. That's the difference. And the third thing that you obviously have more control over are the pages that are within your control. So do you have a website? Do you have a bunch of landing pages out there? What is the presence that you have available? And how are those platforms showing up? Those are the things I want you to focus on. And by focusing your energy on those 3, you'll be able to increase your visibility on any search engine you're looking for. People will actually start being able to find your content. Talking about finding great content, if you want more of this wonderful knowledge, then hit the subscribe button and join us here on the channel because we have new videos for you every single week, helping your small business level up your influence, your authority, and your income online. Now, the human side to online branding is often forgotten, but it's so powerful. So what a lot of people think that when you run a business online, it's all about the data, the numbers that are coming in. But in reality, there are people behind every single one of those pieces of engagement, every single sale, every dollar there's an actual person behind that. So if you can understand the motivations of that person, you're much more likely, A, to be able to serve up the right solutions to them, and B, you're also going to be able to serve the right solutions to them. So how do we know this? How do we keep serving them that right next step for them? Well, we actually ask them. We listen to them. So it doesn't mean creating all of these big forms and these fancy campaigns or anything like that. In reality, you go out and you ask them like they're a real person. Like you send them a message and you're like, hey, wondering what you thought about our latest product, or we're working on something new and I saw that you purchased the last one. Well, what do you think about this? What would you improve on? Get your customers' feedback. Literally ask them what they're looking for, what they're struggling with, what they need help with. And then you can create those solutions that serve directly up to the things that they are struggling with. And that is definitely the beautiful side of working online. Online and internet-based tools allow us to connect to so many more people and get really specific on who we're looking to talk to and target with our messaging. But we often forget that there are humans behind that. So if we tap in to what actually motivates the real people who are purchasing our products and looking for our solutions, that will change the game. It's quite wonderful, actually. And if you want to join our community, I personally am inviting you to become a visibility hacker. So head over to visibilityhacking.com, click the link that says Become a Visibility Hacker, and you too can join our wonderful Facebook community. There's so much great stuff going on in there. I can't wait to see you. And until I see you again, my friends, remember, I love you, be excellent to each other, and go find your people. They're out there waiting for you.